joins from Moscow by visiting lecturer at Higher School of Economics in Moscow, Ramy El-Kalyouby. A very warm welcome, sir, to the Economic Bulletin. Sir, given that both Iran and Russia are under heavy international sanctions, how feasible is the financing for the $25 billion project? And what mechanisms might they use to facilitate such large-scale transactions while circumventing the global financial system, sir?
Actually, now the global financial system is dominated by the US dollar and the Federal Reserve System. But at the same time, such countries as Russia, Iran, and China are searching to diversify the financial system to be less dependent on the Western system, as is the case of Russia and Iran. Iran is totally cut from SWIFT system. Russia is partially cut from it. So it's quite natural that such countries seek to be less dependent on the American and Western monetary system.
Sir, what are the immediate and long-term economic impacts on Iran's economy from committing to a project of this scale?
Obviously, Iranian economy is suffering a lot because Iran lives under sanctions since decades. There are also energy problems, and actually signing any deals with Russia will help Iran to improve its situation because, for example, in the case of energy, the Iranian situation is quite controversial. On the one hand, along with Russia and Qatar, Iran is one of three first countries in the world in terms of gas reserves, but at the same time, there is a lack of gas in the northern areas of Iran, and during summer, electricity is often cut. So now, obviously, when dealing with Russia, will help Iran to diversify its economy and to improve it as far as it's possible.
Sir, could the financial burden outweigh the potential long-term energy benefits?
For sure, because as I have mentioned, Iran is at the same time importer and exporter of energy. So, and there are some areas in Iran which are quite difficult to reach from the ports. And I talk mainly about northern Iran, and it is possible this way. It's important to diversify energy ties, especially with such countries as Russia and Azerbaijan.
Sir, on the geopolitical and market impact, how does this deal alter the economic and energy interdependence between Iran and Russia? And what does it signal about the formation of a parallel economic bloc operating outside Western-dominated financial structures?
I think it's too early to speak about financial bloc. We can rather speak about financial partnership because actually Russia and Iran are partners rather than allies. And actually at this point, Russia proved that it's a reliable partner, and after German Siemens company withdrew from Iran after Islamic Revolution, Russia built a Bushehr nuclear plant for Iran. And at this point, each side searches for a partner to rely on, as well as Iran provided Russia with drones at the beginning of the war with Ukraine. So at this point, this is rather partnership rather than interdependence.
You mentioned that Russia is a reliable partner, sir. If Russia is liable to sanctions and Iran liable to sanctions, how could this work, sir?
Actually, the point is that as both countries are under sanctions, they can develop relations and economic ties regardless of the position of the West, because the West already has imposed countries or sanctions on both countries, and it has no instruments to pressure on them. For example, with such countries as India and China, situation is more difficult because they are integrated in the Western economic system, and at this point, the West can exercise pressure of them, but Russia and Iran and North Korea have nothing to lose at this point.
from Moscow. That was visiting lecturer at Higher School of Economics in Moscow, Ramy El-Kalyouby. Thank you very much for your valuable, informative knowledge and for your insights.